Anthony Gibson here, he's going to kill me. This is why I'm going straight after this. Anthony Gibson. We have a bit of a laugh when Hampshire play Somerset, but listen, he's one of the more eloquent of the commentators amongst us. He'll come out with a word that has us all reaching for our dictionary. And you think, what on earth has he just said? I'll do the same. I'll look it up on my phone and say, what is that word? And he's a staunch West Country supporter, of course he is. And he will tell us, well, we've got one of them. And he'll tell us just how great Taunton is. What a great ground. Best ground in the country, Taunton. Best. You see what I mean? I have to put up with this year after year. He's doing it even now. And how the supporters are best of the country down at Somerset. And he'll tell me how much Tom Abel is the best fielder in the country every time it's drilled to an extra cover. And he almost has us believing that that's exactly what it is down at the West Country until a couple of seasons ago when Tom Abel again had fielded one. I think it was a little full defensive at mid-off. And it went to him and Anthony says, oh, Tom Abel, best fielder in the country. And about 5 minutes later, he's dropped a sitter. So I thought, listen, I better stop because if I keep going, these guys are not going to work with me next summer. As I say, whilst a core group of commentators have largely stayed the same, so as we've heard, the game is changing around us. And then not only that, the workplace itself is becoming more diverse. And you will have noticed, and has already been touched on, that there were what we call more third voices in the commentary box this year. They are ones that complement the main commentators. Now, that's all down to the hard work being put in by Doug Morris here. Over the last year or so, he's contacted all the clubs, the women's regional centres, to try and find more diverse talent, and I think it's largely worked. Let me give you one or two stats. Because of Doug's work, in 2022, we covered 7 of the 10 T20 Blast and Charlotte Edwards Cup double headers, and had comprehensive coverage of the Charlotte Edwards Cup finals day. And more than a quarter of our men's county commentaries this summer featured female players, former players, and 15% of our commentaries featured black, Asian and minority ethnic commentators, players and former players. And this was noticed as well amongst the many messages that the teams receive during the summer. I've just picked this one from Maria in Norwich. This came into us. One particular aspect which deserves specific praise this season is the diversification of voices across the county championship coverage. The addition of young female players to the commentary teams has been a welcome innovation. Without exception, they each offer such well-informed analysis and do so with astonishing ease in their delivery. I'm a woman in my 30s. This is not me, this is Marie. It is something that TMS has done increasingly well over my years following international cricket, and I'm so pleased the county coverage is following suit. Doug, I know, will continue that work throughout the coming seasons. Now, Alec mentioned some figures. I don't really have figures to hand as regards online and also the county live streams, but they do. I think the county live streams run into, I think Surrey is one of the highest. Surrey, Lancashire, and one or two others are not far behind, and then it drops down, but you are talking tens of thousands on a regular basis. And the online coverage, I think I saw some stuff, you know the live text feed that the BBC does, which complement the rounds of matches. As was mentioned, the last session up at Edgbaston, Hampshire, Warwickshire, I think there was over 1 million hits on that live text feed. And that will just give you an example of just how well received the county championship is, and when you get a fantastic end to the season, as we did. I just want to very quickly here give a shout out really to BBC Radio Solent and what we do down at the Ageas Bowl. As I mentioned, Doug has a remit to change things nationally. I'm not so lucky. I'm way down the food chain, always have been. But I wanted, about 4 years ago, I wanted to change things at the Ageas. I wanted Hampshire to be proud of a diverse commentary team, and also I wanted to make my employers, BBC Radio Solent, proud of that too. And in that time, I think we've built up quite a nice, diverse team. I'm going to introduce one of those in a moment, who's just going to give you a quick, brief synopsis of her journey as well. I'm incredibly lucky at BBC Solent. I have supportive bosses and have been able to do that now, as I say, for 4 seasons. And also Doug, fortunately, helps us out a little bit too. Let me introduce you to a young lady who started with us 4 years ago at BBC Radio Solent. You will know her. I wasn't going to mention this after listening to the reaction of the 100 from all of you earlier, but she hit the winning runs for the Oval Invincibles at Lords, you'll remember. Yes, it was 100, but it was exciting. And as I say, she's been with us now for 4 years at BBC Radio Solent doing commentaries. And we're incredibly proud of her. She's also a Southern Viper. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily Windsor.
Yeah, good afternoon. And firstly, thank you all on behalf of our team. It's an absolute privilege to get this award. I think we'll talk less about my cricket and more about my commentary journey, which actually ironically started from the Hampshire women, so that's where I'm based. I'm obviously down south. We won the county championship in 2018, so the women's version. And Kevin was in the atrium at the Aegeus Bowl, those that know the Aegeus Bowl, and he was speaking to Bobby Parks, who some of you may know as a cricketer, but at the time he was our cricket coach, our director of cricket. And he asked Kevin, I can remember up on the balcony, he was like, these girls have won the county championship, it would be really good if we could get one of them on just to chat it through on air on one of our games. And there was a group of us sat down on the atrium, and all I remember is Bobby going, "Oi, Emily, up you come." And I think the reason I got picked is probably one of two reasons. They call me a cricket badger. I love cricket, I know what's going on, male, women's game. And two, because I talk a lot of rubbish, so perfect candidate. So yeah, off I went, and Kev just sort of introduced himself and said, "Would you mind coming to do a piece?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And all I was thinking was going to happen was I'd be on air, and how he explained it as well before I was going on air was, here, ask me a few questions, just talk about your summer, and off you go from there. I was about probably 15 minutes in, absolutely petrified, never been on the radio before, and he was like, "Do you want to take this next over?" And I'm thinking, oh my, I've listened to commentary, but I have no idea what I'm doing here, no one's told me what to do. And anyway, Kyle Abbott got a wicket, first ball, LBW, and I had to somehow commentate it on this, and yeah, it's just gone from there really. In that game, every time I came back on air, Hampshire kept getting wickets, so obviously the listeners on BBC Radio Solent really enjoyed that, and we were getting some tweets in, we were getting some interaction, they wanted to see more of me, and then yeah, luckily Kevin really enjoyed what I did and just kept giving me more opportunities and just kept giving me tips along the way really. Like, it's media's not something I've trained in, it's just grown. And I think one tip that I'd say stuck out to me was Kev said to me probably about 4th or 5th time, don't try and be anyone else. Be yourself on air, because listeners like listening to different people. Some people won't like your voice, some people will. And yeah, my opportunities, I've done more and more Hampshire stuff. And then 2 years ago now, Adam Mountford at Test Match Special gave me a call and said, would you like to come and do some of the Test Match Specials on the National Radio England games. So yeah, I'm very grateful to Radio Solent for the opportunity, and I know there'll be a lot of women now following that path. And yeah, it's great to have a lot of diverse voices, because when I listen, which I do a lot at work when I should be working, I like listening to different people. And the other thing is I've got the privilege to work and have the opportunity to work with a lot of different commentators and different people, and you learn a lot from those different commentators. Probably everyone on this table has given me a tip that's allowed me to get some Test Match Special opportunities. So yeah, and obviously on behalf of the team, thank you very much for this award.